Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our second collaborator interview of Bergafest. We're here talking with Paul Wiancko, who is one of the composers on our album and also will be producing our album. Very exciting. Hi, Paul. Thank you for joining us today. Um,
Hi, my pleasure.
so, Paul is a composer and cellist. We met at Banff, what, 3 years ago at the Banff Center?
Does last year count?
Let's call it 2 years ago.
Good idea.
So we're really excited to get to hang out and talk today. Paul, I was wondering if we could start off by talking a little bit about your career as a cellist and as a composer. You started composing a little bit later than you started playing cello, and we'd love to hear kind of what that journey was like.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. I've missed you very much.
Likewise.
Um, yeah, so as you know, I did start composing fairly recently in the scheme of things. I started playing cello when I was 5 years old, and I think due to like focusing, practicing problems, I started improvising a lot and messing around and doing what unruly, bored children do, and that's like uh, creative things, and trying to exercise parts of my mind and my musical personality that wasn't necessarily kosher at the time. Um, at least that's what I thought, based on the kind of rules of a traditional classical educational upbringing. And that I guess kind of paved the way all throughout elementary school into middle school. I was kind of teaching myself how to arrange all of my favorite tunes. And in high school into college, I started working with various bands, recording and arranging strings for their albums. And in college, I guess I started gravitating towards working with punk bands. And I don't know if you're aware, like basically every like punk band in the early 2000s like had to have one like the softer side of our punk band, like an acoustic tune on their album. So that's when they called me in to come and like, dude, can you add some sweet cello to this? And so I'd go in there and like kind of improvise a cello arrangement of like 4 or 5 different cellos. Um, and I'd be like, oh, that's fun. I'm good at this because it's like sort of what I've been doing since I was 5. Um, and then I guess that sort of was the beginning of my compositional career in a way. Um, yeah, I sort of at one point in 2012, I guess, I decided to take the plunge, and I'm gonna actually write my first concert piece and kind of stop like messing around and stop lying to myself that this isn't important to me and that I don't have anything to say as a composer because I do. So I kind of just went for it, and the rest is history, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm in my middle period right now. It's been like 10 years. Um, it's a lot of work composing music, you know what I mean?
Totally. I feel that. What was your first concert piece?
um, oh gosh. Okay, maybe that wasn't my first. That was like I have many attempts that I did sort of in secret before then that will like never ever be published. But that piece, when I was like, you know what, I am gonna start calling myself a composer. I have a group that has commissioned me. This was for the Parker Quartet, which I can't believe that they would take a chance on someone who, like, without actually having a track record of any sort. Um, so yeah, they knew me as a cellist and just sort of as a friend, and they're like, "Hey, we heard you like are gonna start composing. Will you write us something for the Great Lakes Chamber Music Festival?" This was 2012, I believe. I was like, "Oh my God, Parker Quartet. They're my friends, but they're like Grammy winning like liggity experts, and like, oh my God, so much pressure." which was awesome. And that pressure kind of gave way to another side of my creativity. And I'm not used to, at that point, I wasn't used to writing music on a deadline or doing arrangements on deadlines or anything like that. So, um, nor was I used to writing anything because I wasn't a composer yet. So I was kind of teaching myself how to compose for this one big commission, my first big thing. And then, like, halfway through writing the piece, my father passed away, which added a whole nother crazy element to my life then. And so the piece kind of, I was like, am I ready to take on this challenge? Like, do I have enough bandwidth to do this and like grieve at the same time? And then it didn't occur to me that moment that writing could also be a sort of, a healing thing or an emotional outlet in that way. I think it takes a lot of skill and practice to be able to actually pour yourself directly into your work. And I think, I mean, Lita, you're a composer, but as performers, all of us, we know how to do that already with our instruments, because we've been doing it for so long. And so I sort of, I soldiered on. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that with composition. I don't know if I even know how to. But I did my best, and that piece sort of became about him, about my dad, and kind of a celebration of his film work. He was a documentary filmmaker, and about his books on his travels to Romania in the Cold War and former Yugoslavia, and all of like the amazing exploration that he did in his lifetime, kind of worked its way into this piece. And when the Parker Quartet premiered it, I was able to kind of speak to the audience, for a minute before they premiered it, and let them know what it was about, that it was about my father and his adventures and his work. And then the feeling of sitting through that premiere, kind of for the first time listening to something that I created and not participating in the actual delivery of the creation, that just fundamentally changed my brain chemistry, myself, my understanding of who I was as a person, and just the catharsis hit me in that moment, and in the moment after the performance when people were coming up to me after the performance, like left and right, and telling me about the parent they lost or the loved one they lost, and how they could like hear my father and my work even though they had no idea who he was. And that was so unexpected to me, that element of creating, because I didn't know what to expect until it happened. But the fact that you can create something that just directly reaches so many people, or that has the potential to, and that they will respond, and in one way or another, either negatively, horribly, like, oh, I hated it, like that's kind of cool too. I get why, like, a lot of artists they kind of crave that, like, oh, I want to make people upset with my music. Like, I get it. Just having any sort of impact is like a really powerful thing. So I guess that's when I became a composer, to answer your question. And yeah, I've never looked back, and I'm still kind of chasing that feeling of satisfaction and connecting with people, and expressing myself, and still trying to learn how to directly pour myself into my music, because that's kind of a thing that doesn't get easier. It's something that I think you develop for your whole life, just like we do as performers.
Yeah. Thanks. That was a wonderful answer. And I think it's really a testament to you as a musician and person that Parker Quartet was down to be like, yeah, we're gonna do this. And I'm very glad that they did. We were talking last week, the four of us, about composers either gravitating towards or away from writing for their own instrument. And I feel like there tends to be kind of like a sharp dividing line. I often gravitate towards writing for strings, also as a strings player, and I'm terrified of writing for non-strings. But we know very much firsthand that you write amazingly for strings. As a person that is very familiar with the string quartet, having been a quartet musician for many years yourself. And the piece that we're going to be recording on our album that you wrote is called Ode on a Broken Loom. And it's such a cool piece, and we find it so evocative of various elements of working with thread and cloth and just creating a physical material. We'd love to hear a little bit about how that piece came about, both from kind of a like, who did you write it for, why, and the piece itself, where did you find inspiration for those sounds and textures and images?
The inspiration for it is very much kind of what you mentioned. It's in fabric, and it's in methods of creating fabric, a musical fabric, obviously, in this case, and sort of an exploration of a method of making something, which is, I guess, why this piece is a little bit unlike my other string music, my other pieces, because there is a focus on those larger swaths, I guess, of texture. The piece was written for the Aizuri Quartet, as you know, a wonderful Canadian string quartet that plays on period instruments. So that kind of factored into the composition of the piece as well, thinking about gut strings and the kind of amazing tonal and timbre possibilities of gut strings, and their sort of sense of the Aizuri Quartet's sort of sense of musicality. They kind of specialize in all things pre-Beethoven. Does that sound right? And it's just kind of, it's really fun to watch them like play a really hard fugue or like, you know, canonic stuff. That's kind of what struck me watching them play Haydn and some much more obscure music, was that interplay. So I wanted to give them like 10 minutes of just that. Hence all of the pretty hardcore canonic material in this piece, and it was cool. The gut strings were cool, like really cool to hear. But I think still there's things that you can do on steel strings that come in handy in this piece. I think you might agree. Yeah. So was there another part of that question?
I think that was it.
Okay.
We've kind of assigned scenarios to different parts of the piece as we work on it. Like the part that I asked you about the other day with the kind of reverse cutoff sound, we call the fish pond section.
The fish pond?
Yeah. We have this very specific image of like a still water surface with trout coming up and like biting bugs off the surface.
That's amazing.
Most of the other ones are actually textile related, but not that one.
I mean, that's very textural as well. And I guess that would be the part where it's definitely a lot more ethereal than the canonic stuff, and just a little more extraterrestrial or subaquatic. That's very cool. And as a fly fisherman myself, any reference to fishing is highly appreciated. So that's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, I guess so. Pivoting a little little bit to the album, which is like what Bergafest is celebrating. I love what you said just now. We're so excited for it. I love just now what you said about connecting with people through music. I think we really feel with like the music on this album that we really want to connect this music with people. We feel such great value to the pieces that we are playing, and one of them is yours. You also happen to be producing our album, which we are super excited about. Thank you.
My
But
pleasure.
we just want, can you just tell us a little bit about, and also our audience, what do producers do? Why are they important?
um, I guess that can mean different things to different people, but my goal with this is just as you mentioned, you want to connect with people, and I want to make sure that connection comes out as strongly as possible in all the music you play. Um, and so I'm going to be there for emotional support and as a fifth pair of impartial ears when needed, and to help facilitate takes and edits, and as a sounding board for you, and when needed, to have my direct input on whatever you guys need it for. But mainly, it's, I think, in this case, to preserve that element of human connection, because I know how all four of you, when you perform and when you just interact as people with everyone, it's a powerful thing. You're amazing people, and there's something really special, I find, in live performance that sometimes doesn't translate to an album recording. And I mean this just generally. And when I hear an album that sounds live, has the energy of a live performance, um, but has like the sound quality of a highly produced thing, I'm like, wow, like that's where it's at. It's like, I'm not a sports person at all, but I feel like that's like watching college basketball, but at like the skill level of pro basketball. You know what I mean? I barely know what that means. I don't even watch basketball, but that's, people tell me that like college basketball is way more exciting. I don't know. I'm trying to make a sports reference
I get
right
that a
now,
little
but
bit.
yeah. Amy,
What
you
is
watch
basketball?
basketball?
No, not really, but I mean, I went to like a big sports school for undergrad. So like I am aware of like March Madness and that kind of thing. But
Right.
yeah, I kind of see what you mean.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you
we're
for saving
foreseeing
me
that
there.
as one of our bigger challenges in recording this album is we haven't spent a ton of time in the studio before. We've done a lot of one-off recordings, but we've never had the chance to get as deep into music as we're getting with these four pieces prior to studio work, and so we're we're very glad to be working with a producer like you who really has that element of human connection in mind, because it's really hard to put yourself in that position of um, imagining the presences for whom you play when you're not actually with those presences.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I know you guys are gonna kill it. It's gonna be incredible. So I'm mostly just excited and honored that you asked me to be there and to produce. But I just can't wait to see what you guys are gonna present, and just to hear all of that sweet bergamot detail. You know what I mean?
Or sour.
So, Paul, I saw you for like 1 second on my way to buy bread in Red Hook. What have
Oh
you
my
been
God,
up to?
you found a bakery in my own neighborhood that I
I
didn't know about.
know.
That's so embarrassing.
But yeah, so what have you been up to like this whole time? Like, I don't even know what time is anymore, but
We haven't
since
seen you in like 2 years.
wow. What have you been up to like outside of like being an amazing musician? Like, I know you love fishing, but you also like make tables, you built your recording studio. Like, what have you been up to?
Oh my gosh. Um, I don't know. Things come in like phases, like little short little bursts of inspiration in different directions. I'm always looking for opportunities to go fishing. I'm always looking for like the next kind of amazing little not untouched stream, but
Wait, I have a
stream
question.
that's, yeah.
Where do you go fishing? And where do you go fishing?
I think the last fish I caught, I'm a little embarrassed to say, was in Central Park.
No.
Is that legal?
Yeah.
Did
It's
you
legal.
eat it?
Oh, are you crazy? Of course I did. No, just kidding. That I think might be illegal. I'm not sure. So yeah, I'm one of those crazy people who fishes in public parks now. But generally, I try to, when I travel, pandemic conditions permit, I take a little fishing rod with me everywhere I go and just kind of find the nearest stream, and just hit the stream in between rehearsals or on a day off or whatever. And I feel like it kind of puts me in touch with that place instantly, which is really cool. And that's kind of one of the things I love about tenkara fly fishing in my case, which is like, sorry, we're going into crazy detail, but it's like a super minimal old school Japanese style of fly fishing. And it's like just very little gear. It's just one long stick and with a line tied to it. And you can just go and just start fishing in like literally 20 seconds. So when I go out somewhere like, I don't know, Lexington, Kentucky, or even some like corner of San Jose, California that I've never seen before, like I'll look for just the nearest body of water or a stream, and it like instantly somehow you feel connected to the land, and you like just get a sense for what that place is and always has been. Like even if there's like a Wendy's on the corner, like I've fished behind Wendy's before, and like I fish in places where there are like half submerged shopping carts in the stream. Like that's how much I love fishing. Wait, are you recording where I think you're recording?
Where do you think we're recording? On an island in the Hudson River.
Oh my god. I mean in Troy in the hall?
Yeah, in the music hall.
Awesome. I will bring my fishing rods.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Not like we're gonna have time, but just because I just said I would.
Amazing.
This is on record.
Yeah, but yeah, I haven't actually gone fishing in a while. Last time, before Central Park, I went on a couple fishing expeditions with Jay Campbell from the Jack Quartet, one of your normal coaches, right? Yeah, so that was fun. We found a couple of beautiful little streams upstate. Yeah, other than that, just general outdoorsy things. Camping. I love camping and hiking and cooking.
That's great. Have you gotten to go camping more this year than you might have in a typical year?
Definitely. Yeah.
It's been a silver lining.
Yeah, for sure. A silver lining / like kind of a necessity, to see more trees and rivers and mountains. And I think even people who didn't know they were like outdoorsy folk like realize the value in just seeing a tree, especially this last year.
It's big.
So yeah.
Well, we have oysters here in
we
our
have
body of water.
We are on the Chesapeake Bay right now. I think you would love it here.
Seriously? Wait, where are you?
Gloucester.
In Virginia.
Oh, right.
Small town.
Are you allowed to pick oysters?
Well, they picked oysters for us. I don't know who they is. We were just given a jar of oysters when we came here.
No way. Wait, fresh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see them when you're walking along the water. They're just all everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome.
Okay, I have a random question for you.
Perfect.
what is one thing that you don't know how to do that you would like to know how to do someday?
God, this has been I wonder if I've run out. Like, this has been the year to figure that stuff out. Like, man.
Looking around.
I would like to. I'd like to figure out how a French horn works. You know, like how the valves work, and like exactly why they're transposed and that kind of thing. That's a lazy one. I have such amazing like French horn players who are gonna be so pissed right now. Just like, call me, dude. I don't know. I've done so many things that I've always wanted to during this pandemic. Like,
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
We kind of wanted to ask you this question because we figured it would be a hard thing to, because you know how to do so many things.
I mean, I'm so just ADD OCD anyway that I like, you know, I gotta figure something out if it's nagging at me. Or like for years I didn't know where fish went in the winter, and I was like, I just realized that like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh my god, I don't know where do shrimp go when it's cold? Do they just all die? And I don't know, just these random thoughts pop up. So I find after like 12 years, I finally Googled where fish go in the winter, which is, I feel like, is something every fisherman should know. But they just kind of go, yeah, they go down in the depths and they just chill out. It's just kind of obvious. That's what I thought. I mean, I pretty much knew it already. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm rambling.
That's
I
okay.
can't really think of a new
I didn't know
thing
that.
I definitely didn't know that, yeah.
right now.
You learned something
I did
new
just
every day.
learn that people used to think that birds did that in the winter.
Wait, what?
Went into the
Like
water?
before people understood what migration was, they thought birds would just kind of like hibernate in marshes and enter like torpid states.
Huh.
Not true, it turns out.
Yeah.
Fly.
Yeah.
They go
Oh,
south. Most of them.
So interesting. Wow.
Yeah, a testament to the power of assumption.
Yeah. The power of not being able to believe things that you don't see in
Yeah,
front of your own eyeballs.
really. Like, where does music come from? Wait, what have you learned to do what have you always wanted to learn how to do but haven't?
Wow, turning it on. So many
I
things.
have one thing. Lita just taught me how to crochet.
That's
the question is
huge.
what you haven't learned yet, though.
Oh,
So
haven't
now you're
learned.
Oh, it's
disqualified.
haven't learned.
Oh.
I want to make furniture like you.
Oh, it's so easy.
Well, I made a table, but I don't think I made a table because I bought a slab of wood and
You made it.
and I just like
You assembled it.
Yeah.
varnished it, but I
You
put it on
varnished
top
it.
of a table.
Baby steps. But you put it on top legs.
So I don't think that counts. I think I want to make a real table.
No, that counts. You fitted a tabletop. Did you finish the tabletop too? Like put a finish on it?
Yeah, I
mean,
did
that's
everything.
that's the hard part.
But I don't know. Maybe I'll make something.
That's cool. I'm proud of you. It's easy though. Seriously, you just nail stuff together or screw stuff together and then use it. It's kind of like, you know, like becoming a composer. You just like write a few notes down and give it to someone else. Ta-da, you're a composer, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know something. I really want to become really good at the harmonica.
Oh. Are you not?
No, I can play like hot cross buns
Oh.
on a harmonica.
Oh, I'll bring a few harmonicas up with me too.
Could you? Oh my, do you play harmonica?
I went through a phase
Of course you play
Crap.
harmonica.
maybe like 15 years ago.
Okay, so maybe we'll be at like similar levels. Maybe I'll be good at the harmonica by next fall when we record.
That's a
Makes me
good.
do it.
Yeah.
Oh my
This
God.
this gives me some like inspiration.
For a
Actually, now
harmonica.
that we've talked about this, I'll start practicing harmonica again.
The key, like blues harmonica, is that what you're kind of talking about?
I guess so. Yeah.
So just like inhale, and that's the key.
Well, and the thing
Right?
I love about harmonica is like the just like the idiomatic like articulation, like the ornaments and the sliding around and like the rhythm of it.
Yeah. Wait, do I have one here?
I need to cook with Paul.
I do have some. I've like an idiot. I've like washed them when I was like a teenager. I still haven't bought new ones. But like
Yeah,
you
I
can't
do
get a
that once
harmonica
too.
wet.
That breaks them, doesn't it?
Yeah, it ruins them. You can't get them wet. They'll like war. It's like, let me wash my violin. Like, no, it doesn't.
I mean, the instinct, it makes sense though, because you're just spinning all over it all the time.
I know. And like that's what I was trying to wash off of it, and they get so nasty.
Exactly. That's it. That's exactly what I want to learn how to do.
That's what I'm saying.
That was wonderful.
That's what I'm saying. Like when you exhale, that's like, old-timey country music. But when you inhale and that becomes the key, that's blues. Like it's so simple.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
That's so simple.
we're gonna go write that down.
It's so simple. Oh my God. I love talking about things I know nothing about with you guys. It's so fun.
Hopefully you know a little bit more than nothing. Okay, cool. By the time we see you in this fall, we're gonna play duets on
Awesome.
harmonica.
And I'll make you guys a table.
A harmonica too.
That's awesome.
Well, on that note, we don't want to keep you here all day, although we actually do want to keep you here all day.
When we see you.
Oh,
One
you
question
guys.
that we love to ask our collaborators, who are musicians that we very much admire, is what are you listening to these days?
Oh, what am I listening
Or like today?
to? Today, I haven't listened to any music today. Because I'm writing a lot of music, and I'm so easily influenced by the music that I listen to. Sometimes it's kind of dangerous to me. I find like stuff will sneak in there that I didn't want in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, the most recent example being like a little slidey cello melody thing. I was like, oh my God, that's from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I mean, it wasn't like exactly the same thing, but I was like, that's got to go. That's got to be deleted. Because I had just watched, what's that Jet Li movie from like 15 years ago, Heroes or something. Anyways, when I do listen to music these days, let's see. I think the records that are most often on the record player are by my friend Alexander Toth. His amazing band called Toth, and my friend Gray McMurray, who released an album last year, I believe, called Stay Up. I can't get enough. It's like, maybe it's because they're friends of mine and I like miss them so much and I can't hang out with them. That's how I feel connected to my community and my friends. But also just the music is so overwhelmingly creative and super inspiring. So I guess I'm gravitating towards the music of people I know, which I feel like is a good thing for everyone to do. If you're lucky enough to know, the Bergamots, like, buy their album and listen to it every day when it comes out. I'm going to. It's like how we feel connected to each other. It's awesome. That's what music is for. Okay, soapbox over.
And we've come full circle.
You're welcome.
Very much appreciated. Well, thank you so much, Paul. It's been truly wonderful to talk to you. We miss you a lot. It's great to see your
I
face.
miss you guys too. I'm super excited about this album.
Thanks, us too. There's going to be some great music on it. particularly Ode on a Broken Loom, your piece. So as you watch this interview, our viewers, it's Saturday, and on Friday night we had a listening party of Paul's music. Hope you were able to check that out. Our next event of Bergafest is on Monday at 7 p.m. We'll put on a little mini recital. We might share with you some excerpts from Paul's piece to give you a little teaser. And thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you soon.
Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, guys.